What does freedom mean to you? Does it mean the freedom to choose? The freedom to have a family and raise your kids according to your own values? What about living a wild, adventurous life, experimenting with music, relationships, or art? What does freedom really mean? What if freedom meant something that only a few Americans still understood? What if it meant that your choices and your values were set by you, rather than by some politician in a far-off capital? Some people think we're only free to choose to live exactly how they live, by their moral code, or their narrow worldviews. But if liberty means anything, it means that you, and you alone, have the power to exercise your rights to which the laws of nature and nature's God granted you. It's time to put these principles back into action. It's time to restore the American dream, activate in our communities, and take our country back. It's time to wake up, America. Good morning, Rise and Freedom. How are you feeling today? I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. How are you feeling today on Monday? Boy, it's wild and windy there this morning if you live in the Midwest. Woke up this morning around 3 a.m., huge thunderstorm, wind blowing like crazy. Went outside this morning and I saw that my garbage bin had blown halfway across the yard. I don't know about you, but it is sure windy today. Looks like Chris Morrill, who's up here joining us, says the same thing down in Southeast Missouri. And John Rail, who's in Kansas City, says the same thing as well. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, Joni Rankin? Nice to see my lovely wife, Stephanie, of course. Buddy Mansour, all of our friends there this morning. It's time to start the show. All right, newspapers dumping Dilbert, but some people are defending Dilbert creator Scott Adams for comments that he made in responding to a poll that showed that melanin-favored people dislike melanin-disfavored people. They dislike them very much. And Scott Adams says, well, maybe the melanin-disfavored people should just avoid the melanin-favored people, which, of course, the newspapers determined was grounds for cancellation of his comic strip, which has nothing to do with melanin-flavored people. Melanin-flavored. Melanin-favored people. I don't think melanin has a flavor. I don't know. Have you ever tasted it? Thanks so much for tuning in to the show today. Good morning, Doug H. Good morning, Quest Fanning. Nice to see you all here today. Don't forget, this being the last week of the month, that all of our subscribers to the Wake Up America show that are the monthly subscribers are entered in automatically for a contest to win something awesome from the AP for Liberty shop. So if you're not already at least a $2.99 a month subscriber to the Freedom Ninja plan here on YouTube, you get all kinds of awesome perks, 20% off the shop when you shop there regularly anyway. And of course, chances to win prize items, which we will give away, I guess, tomorrow, because I think tomorrow's the last day of the month, isn't it? What is it? Tomorrow, the 28th? Yeah, 28 months in February. All right, let's hit the news again. At 7:18 this morning, Woody Harrelson is getting slammed by critics for his monologue on Saturday Night Live, where he went after Big Pharma and the cartels. We'll talk about that. We'll play that clip. We'll respond. It will be interesting. Where I fall on that issue probably is not going to be where you think, but if you are a regular watcher, you probably know where I'm going to be coming from. At 7:35 this morning, speaking of conspiracy theories, lab leak, most likely origin of COVID-19. Oh, as if we didn't already know that, Jack. We're going to talk about that at 7:35 this morning, as well as by dunking on all the people who posted that it was a conspiracy theory, attacking Donald Trump for suggesting that might be the origin, attacking me for suggesting it might be the origin, and all the people who were, well, couldn't have been more wrong if they tried. At 7:51 this morning, only Luna Lovegood defends the Harry Potter creator of the series, JK Rowling. Yes, that's right. The actress who played Luna Lovegood in the series is, she was supposed to be painted as kind of the crazy one, kind of like the out there type. Really turned out to be the only sane one of all the kids after all. She came out in defense of JK Rowling the other day, and we're going to talk about that as well as apparently reading Lord of the Rings, according to a government report. Reading Lord of the Rings or 1984 could lead to right-wing extremism. Yes. Now, I wonder if it's just if the government report here, because it was a little bit convoluted. I wonder if the government report that said that Lord of the Rings or reading 1984 could lead to right-wing extremism. I wonder if it's the books themselves that lead to right-wing extremism, or is it just reading in general that makes you right-wing? Speaking of reading, this guy's probably had to read a lot of dusty books in his life. Will Scharf is going to be joining us this morning. He's a St. Louis attorney. He's going to be joining us today. He's running for attorney general in the state of Missouri. He'll be joining us this morning at 8:03 to give us a little bit of information on what's next in the battle over St. Louis prosecutor Kim Gardner. Democratic attorney has been under fire for refusing to enforce her caseload. And we'll talk to Will Scharf about that at 8 o'clock this morning. Should be good stuff. At 8:23 this morning, this story just cracked me up. A former Black Panther did a show where they do your ancestry, genetic ancestry, and then they reveal it to you on the show. Well, this former Black Panther lady found out that she was descended from the Mayflower. She was one of the descendants from the people who came over on the Mayflower. I know, it's horrible. I know, terrible, right? She's like, oh, she was not happy about that. I mean, she's like, no, 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 no. So I guess my question for this would be, does this mean that she has to pay reparations to herself? Hmm. I don't know. We'll talk about that at 8:35 this morning. No, Donald Trump's deregulation didn't cause the East Palestine train disaster. I know, leftists, you're disappointed, but we'll talk about why at 8:35 and why even people on the left are saying that that's the case. Yes, we'll talk about that with Brian Lewis if he decides to stick around with us long enough this morning. And at 8:49 at the end of the show today, let's hit Cracked Magazine and talk about 5 fruits that set off a mass panic. Fruits, yes. What do you mean? You're like, what? What the? Fruits. Yes. Yes, that's right. Five fruits that set off a mass panic. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. All right, so let's hit the top of the news story today. Scott Adams is in big trouble. He's in hot water. Yes, he is. And he's in hot water for comments that he made the other day about a survey, a poll that came out that showed that melanin favored people are not big fans of melanin disfavored people. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth first. This is Reverend Jesse Lee Peterson sharing this, who is a black man that is supporting him, by the way, Scott Adams, for his comments. Take a listen.
So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. All right, this can't be fixed. You just have to escape.
Pause. Okay, so is the poll probably right that a lot of melanin favored people really hate melanin disfavored people and probably always will, and that's not fixable? Probably. That's probably true. But is there progress that can be made? I think so. I think on a long enough timeline that things tend to stretch towards peace and favorability. But that's just me. I'm not a doomsayer or a doom scroller, right? I'm a white pill kind of a guy. So maybe I'm not as pessimistic perhaps as Scott Adams is here. But let's continue. Let's hear him out.
So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where I have a very low black population, because unfortunately there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way.
Oh no.
So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. So even Don Lemon sees a big difference in your own quality of living based on where you live.
Isn't that funny? You're not allowed to say that though if you are melanin disfavored. I mean, that's kind of the funny thing, right? Is, if you're melanin disfavored, you're not allowed to do certain things or say certain things. And Scott Adams is saying the things that you're not allowed to say. Now, newspapers throughout the country are now responding to Scott Adams saying this, and they've pulled the comic strip Dilbert from their pages after he called Black Americans a hate group in a video last week. So, I mean, no surprise there. LA Times, Washington Post, every newspaper under the Gannett umbrella, that's including USA Today, made the announcement, which, by the way, LA Times, Washington Post, USA Today, especially USA Today. I hate USA Today probably more than the Washington Post or the LA Times. And the reason why, I'll tell you briefly why I really hate the USA Today, is because USA Today tries to appear like a sort of objective mainstream newspaper versus the Washington Post or the New York Times or the LA Times, where you're going to get a left of center view of things. USA Today tries to pretend to be impartial when it's it's harder left often frequently than you'll see in the LA Times or the Washington Post. And so I really despise the USA Today much more because I think they're the most deceitful of all of the newspapers. You can read their straight reporting and find editorial in it. I do it every time. Every time I'm at a hotel and they run out of toilet paper, I'll grab the USA Today, and then I'll read it while I'm as you will, and then you can see the pieces in there. There's no difference between the editorial page and the reporting page. The reporting page contains editorial, and it's very subtle and it's very insidious, and quite frankly, I think it's evil. And I despise USA Today for that reason. So the fact that it's the LA Times and USA Today and the Washington Post, right? These so-called, respectable, journals are removing it. Just remember, they're all under that same branch, that Gannett umbrella. And so those kinds of orders are coming down from the top, right? You might think there's some independence amongst them, but in reality, they're being dictated to from corporate. Right? Chris Quinn, who's the editor of the Cleveland Plain Dealer, what the hell is that? Weir says, "We are not a home for those who espouse racism. Adams' reprehensible statements come during Black History Month." Oh no! When the plain dealer has been publishing stories about the work being performed by so many to overcome the damage done by racist decisions and policies. I'm sorry, but I mean, racism is there's a lot of words out there that you really want to use sparingly, right? Bigot. When you call someone a bigot, it better be for a very good reason, and it better be correct, and it better be accurate. If you're going to call somebody racist, it better be accurate, because now that there's so many terms that are just losing their meaning by overuse. Gaslighting is a perfect example of the type of word that people are overusing, and it's starting to lose its meaning, and everybody's just using it for, oh, they're lying to me, right? But that's not what gaslighting means, right? But racist is just, to me, when somebody calls somebody a racist, I immediately think it's the opposite. I think usually whenever somebody calls somebody a racist, I'm typically the type of person to be more suspect of the person who's calling someone a racist than the person they're accusing, right? But it's not to say that that isn't always the case, or that it's not always true, because frankly, some people are racist, some people are bigots. But I don't know about the Scott Adams thing. Anyways, before we go to a commercial break, real quick, I thought I would introduce you to my friend Chris Morrill, who wanted you to know that the AP for Liberty shop has got an awesome new shirt in stock available for you, designed by me, yours truly. And Chris has decided to model this shirt for you all today, and would like you all to know that he loves his giant rooster on the back of his shirt. As you can see, Chris Morrill here demonstrating how beautiful a shirt is for you to be able to wear yourself. Now, his says Cantina Crew for Life. If that's the shirt that you want and it says Cantina Crew for Life on it, like that over there, then you can go order one right now in the shop, and you'll get one just like that, just like Chris Morrill. Okay? But if you want one that says your name on it, like mine, you have to contact me before you order it, and I will make you a special one for your order, right? So if you would like an awesome shirt like Chris's, then check it out. This isn't mad at me. He probably is. It doesn't matter. We'll make friends. We'll be friends again. All right, we're gonna go to a commercial break. When I get back, what's next? Oh my God, I've lost my spot. Yes, Woody Harrelson monologue on Saturday Night Live. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today.
Fire. Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apeforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit apforlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How are you feeling today? Happy Monday. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's glad to have a nice big studio audience here today. If you're joining us over on YouTube and you're watching us right now, I see about 32 of you over there so far. Do me a favor, would you? Hit that like button over there underneath the video if you're watching us and you're enjoying the content. That way we can get out in other people's feeds this morning and continue to grow the show. Wake Up America show, growing and thriving. We are striving to continue to be the best morning talk show in liberty politics to advance the ideas of economic freedom and personal liberty. Just give us a little like to help us support that mission. We certainly appreciate you very much. Nice to see our friends over on Twitch as well. No, not C is following. Nice to have you here. Well, apparently they're not a fan, though. This dude is a narcissist. Boo, bro. You better look that definition up. I'm not a narcissist. I'm just better looking than you. Nice to have you here, though, as well, because the more comments we get, of course, the more we grow. Trolls, pay my bills. Nice to have you here. Speaking of paying my bills, make sure that you check out Chris Morrill over there with his awesome shirt. Can I get a round of applause for Chris Morrill? Thank you so much for demonstrating that awesome shirt that I designed over at AP for Liberty Shop. And also, thank you for that Monday morning salute, Chris. We appreciate you very much for joining us on the program. Okay, let's talk about Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson made some waves on Saturday Night Live when he came out against the cartels. Which cartels? The drug cartels? Well, which drug cartels is he talking about? Most people might think, oh, well, he's talking about the Mexican drug cartels. No, those are how he gets his awesome, delicious weed. Although I think it's actually, no, it's legal in California now these days. But take a listen to this and let's respond.
So the movie goes like this. The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes, and people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over. I threw the script away. I mean, who is going to believe that crazy idea?
Yeah, Woody Harrelson. Here comes this is the Daily Beast coming out against him. Woody Harrelson spews anti-vax conspiracies in rambling SNL monologue. Oh, yeah. Thanks for proving his point here, by the way, about there being a conspiracy and that the media is all in on it. Let's continue. Narcissist, another overused word. Sheesh, says Joni Rankin. Yes, very true. Wait a minute. I missed that headline. Woody Harrelson's Saturday Night Live monologue makes COVID conspiracy jokes. By the way, it's not a conspiracy theory. It was a conspiracy, right? It wasn't like as if the corporations and big government aren't in bed together and that they weren't all conspiring in order to screw us. It wasn't as if Amazon or Walmart, all the big box stores that got to remain open while they shut down the mom and pop things. That wasn't a conspiracy theory. That was a conspiracy. That actually happened. Oh, it's fine. Go to Walmart and wait in line and you won't catch COVID. Go to your local mom and pop store and buy a spatula or whatever it is that you wanted to buy during that. That's how COVID-19 gets spread. Woody Harrelson rambles. This is Huffington Post. Woody Harrelson rambles about weed, anti-vax conspiracy, and SNL monologue. I will admit, though, that Woody Harrelson did sound like he was stoned out of his mind on Saturday Night Live, which would have given it a little bit of charm, but it was kind of hard to understand him. This is Huffington Post coming after him and attacking him. Let's continue on here. Press play. Woody Harrelson, here we go. Marlo Stern. Woody Harrelson spreads anti-vax conspiracies during SNL monologue. What are people going to be able to let the vax go? The left, I don't understand. The truth is somewhere about the vaccines, or is somewhere in the middle between the right-wing crazies and the left-wing crazies. But the left-wing crazies, they just still cannot get it into their mind. It's kind of like the Russia collusion hoax. They still believe that. They still, even though the dossier was completely debunked, even though that now there have been investigations against the left for faking so many of these lies that Trump was colluding with Russia to win the 2016 election, the liberals still believe that. I mean, part of the reason why there's so much leftist support for Ukraine is leftover conspiracy theories from the 2016 election. And Russia it plays all day long in their heads. And that's why so much of this warmongering left has come out in favor of Ukraine and sending tanks and our, billions of dollars of American taxpayer dollars over to Ukraine. A lot of that has floated on the back of that Russia collusion hoax. And the left just can't seem to get it into their thick heads that the vaccine does not prevent the spread of COVID-19. Now, the right-wing crazies won't like it if I say it might reduce the symptoms in certain people who are in affected age groups or, who have, deficient systems of what do you call them? Immunodeficient, if you will. But that's true as well. But the left just can't, just like the right, many of the crazy right-wingers can't get over the fact that it's probably a good idea for grandma to get the COOF, vaccine if she's 98 years old and you want to see her live to be 99, is the fact that the left can't understand that the vaccine probably isn't a good idea for young, healthy males, right? That the risk outweighs the reward. That their babies are getting punched with the vaccine in the wombs. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. That was a joke. They're not actually doing that. All right. This is a talk show in the morning, and it's with my opinion. I'm a pundit, and I make humorous jokes and jibs and jabs. Speaking of jabs, coming up next at 7:30 this morning, we're going to talk about COVID-19 lab leak theory. Yes, I will tell you all about how right I was and how wrong so many other people were, like a good narcissist. COVID-19 lab leak theory likely, reports the Wall Street Journal. Only months, perhaps years after I reported it. Yes, don't hate me because I'm beautiful and right about everything. On the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1, you can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself or me mum, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great! Number 2, most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3, you're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me pups build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell, this commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How are you feeling today on a Monday? Well, it's sure nice to see you all there today. If you're watching us over on YouTube, would you do us a favor and give us a like so that we can get out in more people's feeds? I'd certainly be grateful. Nice to see all of our friends, JP, Dustin, Elizabeth Press, Caleb Vanderfelt. How you doing, Caleb? Nice to see you. R. Volt, Chris Morrill, and all kinds of nice people over there today. Some very not nice people. Neo Not C over on Twitch this morning. Not a big fan. He's not a big fan of the show. He's not a big fan of me, and he's not a big fan of ads. But he's over here. He's watching me, and he's watching my ads. So can we just give a big round of applause for Neo Not C for not living up to the expectations that you might have if you think that if you didn't like us, you wouldn't be watching us or supporting us by watching our ads. But I am a capitalist, and I believe in capitalist things. And I'm actually really excited later to talk to you about this. This is going to be a little ad that I'm going to show you here. And pretty exciting news. The Wake Up America show continues to grow. See, the funny thing is somebody actually came in here. I'm going to get to the news here in just a moment. Somebody came in the other day and was doing the same thing. They kind of like, attacking. They were like, oh, your show is so small. So few people watch you. And that's the kind of thing, obviously it'd be huge. It'd be great if we had 1,000 people watching us right now. And maybe we'll get there. But the thing is that you don't have to have a humongous audience of people to be successful in this line of work, in this business. As long as you've got a good, strong niche of people who continue to come back, who continue to support the show, advertisers will advertise. And that's nice to see because, I think with Liberty, it's always going to be kind of like a niche product, right? It's not going to be something that's going to be like mass writing. If I was talking about DC comics, right, all day long, or if I was talking about Marvel movies or something like that, that would have like that mainstream mass appeal, and you'd have those big audiences, right? But I care about freedom and liberty and limited government, and there's only a certain amount of people that are going to be interested in talking about those kinds of things. So I serve that niche. The advertisers want to contact that niche. So the advertisers come to me and I come to you with their products. I think it works out great. What do you think? Hooray. Yes, only a narcissist could get away with this. Manage your expectations, says Rare Camellia. Yes, nice to see you. Good morning, Tolly Owens. Glad to have you here, as well as Dustin and John Rail. Good to see you all. All right, that's it. Lab leak theory, the most likely origin of COVID-19. Who was right? This beautiful narcissist right here. Lab leak, most likely origin of COVID-19 pandemic. The Energy Department now says the U.S. agency's revised assessment is based on new intelligence. Intelligence in government. Isn't that an oxymoron? Well, the U.S. Energy Department apparently has concluded that the pandemic most likely arose from a laboratory leak, according to classified intelligence reports that were recently provided to the White House and to members of Congress. A little late on that, don't you think? But the new report basically is highlighting how different parts of the intelligence community arrived at disparate judgments about the pandemic's origin. So the Energy Department now joins the FBI in saying that the virus likely spread via a mishap at a Chinese laboratory. And if the FBI and the Energy Department are saying that, then that means that it probably likely originated from bat soup at a Chinese wet market. Just kidding. Just kidding. The Energy Department's conclusion is the result of new intelligence that has come out, and it's significant because the agency has considerable scientific expertise and oversees a network of national laboratories, some of which conduct a lot of this advanced biological research. Advanced biological research, yes. The Energy Department made its judgment with low confidence, according to people who have read the classified report. Low confidence? What the hell are you talking about? Low confidence? How are you going to have low confidence on something like that? Well, the FBI previously had come to the conclusion that the pandemic was the result of a lab leak back in 2021 with what they called moderate confidence, and they still hold to this view. The FBI also employs a bunch of microbiologists, immunologists, and other scientists, and they do things like analyzing anthrax and other possible biological threats, which they totally want to do for peaceful purposes. And they're definitely not doing gain of function research. They're not doing gain of function research, and they're not creating bioweapons. It's all for peaceful purposes, right? Yes, I totally believe them. Don't you? Don't you believe them? I don't know if I believe them. Actually, what do you think? Send us a text this morning at 573-319-1586. That's right. You can text the show today, and I'll read that nice and slow. 573-319-1586. One of our listeners texted in today, says, I am here. Where is my shout out? Well, I have no idea who you are, but I'll give you a shout out anyway. Thanks for texting in. Again, 573-319-1586 is the text line. If you'd like to have your text read on air, you can do so by texting that line. Alternatively, if you'd like to support the show, you can give us a super chat over on YouTube, and I will read your super chat on air as well. And yes, that's another way that this evil narcissist capitalist can earn money so that he can feed his darling family. Oh, yes, poor Austin, so terrible. Yes, lab leak origin. Elon Musk accuses Fauci of funding gain-of-function research by using a pass-through organization. God bless Elon Musk. Can I get an amen? Elon Musk has really become the capitalist billionaire hero that we all needed. I mean, the thing about Elon is that he really is that character from an Ayn Rand novel, right? He is, to me, Henry Rourke, or he is John Galt, in my opinion. Wouldn't you agree if you've read those books? Doesn't Elon Musk kind of remind you of that kind of a character? Is he 100%, a libertarian, one of us? Probably not, right? Didn't the guy vote for Andrew Yang or something like that? And shut up. I didn't mean to do yeah. I mean to do boo. Yeah, not cry. Austin's crying. Boo, boo, boo. But Elon Musk went out on Twitter and tweeted that he actually accused Fauci of funding gain of function research, and Fauci has denied it, saying that that Fauci used a pass-through organization called EcoHealth. This was on Twitter on Sunday. Now, Musk's accusation came in response to a tweet that aggregated a bunch of occurrences where Fauci had denied any kind of gain of function research, and he also counter-signaled the idea that COVID-19 originated from a 2019 Wuhan lab leak. So Fauci is even coming out on the other side of what the FBI and the Energy Department is. I mean, our government can't get its crap together. So I mean, what the hell are we gonna, what the hell are you gonna expect? But the video's caption, which I guess I could play it for you if I wanted to. Here, hold on one second. Let me pull this up so you can actually watch this video. So the video, I don't endorse the message that's in this video. I just want to play it for you because this is part of the story, and I just want you to know I kind of vet videos, and I don't know about the veracity of the claims in this one. I will show it to you, but I will say that I don't necessarily endorse everything that's going to be said in this video. So I'm going to go ahead and go to our man, the internet is slow today. Here we go. Twitter weirdness scene, right? There's Elon Musk's tweet. Now let's head up to the video.
I don't know how many times I can say it, Madam Chair. We did not fund gain of function research to be conducted in the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
In our health lead, we now know that a bat coronavirus was enhanced in a lab.
NIH and NIAID categorically has not funded gain of function research to be conducted in the Wuhan Institute.
The National Institutes of Health acknowledged that it funded research of a virus that was studied at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. The experiment unexpectedly, we're told, made a bat coronavirus more contagious than the original naturally occurring one.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain of function research in Wuhan?
Rand Paul.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement.
A new letter raising questions about experiments in a Wuhan lab.
Let me finish.
You take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans.
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about.
For years, the National Institutes of Health provided grant money to the EcoHealth Alliance Research Group, which conducted experiments with bat coronaviruses in Wuhan, China.
And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well, wait a minute.
It did come from the lab, but all the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
National Institute of Health admitted this week that it funded controversial gain-of-function research using coronaviruses at a lab in China at the epicenter of the pandemic, contradicting claims from Dr. Anthony Fauci that American tax dollars never paid for that kind of research.
I have not lied before Congress. I have never lied. Certainly not before
Never
Congress.
lied.
Case closed.
Yes, these are your leaders, ladies and gents. I got to say, somebody the other day was saying we need a lot more Nikki Haley-style Republicans, and I was like, bitch, we need a lot more Rand Paul Republicans. Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? Happy Monday. Thanks so much for joining us this morning. Now, listen, this is going to be the first time that I've introduced this to you, but I'm kind of excited to talk to you about something that I've been experimenting with. Now, I've talked to you about how I've done everything I can to try and lose weight. Last year, I lost a whole bunch of weight. But this year, I'm trying something new. Capitalism doing capitalist things, yes. I want to talk to you about my friends at Brick House Nutrition. Yes, it's time for us to get serious about our health. It's time for me to talk to you about my friends who are bringing you one of the best products to help you get your daily dose of nutrition. Now, it's better than taking vitamins. I can't take vitamins, right, just for like it interacts with like my thyroid and all that kind of stuff. So I need to ensure that I get certain types of vitamins. Brickhouse Nutrition has got it. This Field of Greens is a really delicious organic superfood, right? You need to get your fruits, you need to get your vegetables. You're supposed to have 6 cups of fruit and veggies each day. I don't get 6 cups of fruits and veggies each day. So what do? I put this in a nice cold glass of water. Field of Greens, wild berry, absolutely delicious. And then I've got all the nutrition that I needed, that the CDC said I needed, but I didn't want to eat because I didn't want to eat 6 cups of fruits and vegetables. I just want to drink it in one delicious superfood. I take Field of Greens and I'll tell you why. Unlike a lot of other fruit and vegetable supplements, each specific fruit and vegetable was selected to support specific functions. A lot of times you get extracts. That's not what this is. This is the fruit. This is the vegetable. 10 calories per serving, right? Because you got to watch your weight and you want to ensure that you get the proper nutrition in your daily diet. Now, Field of Greens works fast, and if you're like me, I've been using it now for a couple weeks. You'll feel healthier. Of course, I've been exercising a little bit more. Thank you, Steffi, for doing karate with me last night. And I'll tell you what, they have got a guarantee on this as well. Take Field of Greens, and at your next doctor visit, if your doctor doesn't say something like, whatever you're doing, it's working, keep it up, you can return it for a refund. I am proud to endorse Field of Greens for my health. You should try it for your health as well. To get you started, I got you 15% off your first order. Plus, you'll get another 10% off when you subscribe for recurring orders. Visit fieldofgreens.com, check out what they're all about, and if you want to buy and get that discount for 15% off or 10% off recurring orders, use promo code AP4Liberty. That's fieldofgreens.com, promo code AP4Liberty. AP, the number 4, AP4Liberty. And I'll tell you, I've tried a bunch of different combinations of this. The best way to drink this, in my mind, they've got like lemon lime and they've got wild berry. Wild berry is delicious. That's my favorite. The best way to drink it is shake it up with just the coldest water that you can. It tastes great. And the lemon lime actually is really good in Sprite. So we tried milk. Wasn't a big fan of it in milk. I think milk just doesn't work as well. I prefer cold water or just lemon lime, Sprite or 7-Up or something like that. It's a great way to drink it. It's only got 10 calories. Of course, Sprite's got a lot more calories for you. You got to watch those. But if you don't want to add more calories, just ice cold water, Field of Greens. Get your 6 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. Fieldofgreens.com. Use promo code AP4Liberty. And thank you very much to Brickhouse Nutrition for supporting the Wake Up America show. We'll be back with more. Luna Lovegood of Harry Potter fame, the actress who played Luna Lovegood, is backing JK Rowling. Turns out the crazy one was the only sane one after all. We'll be back with more on the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Good morning to the Cantina crew. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter. And I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that at the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than
well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian.
And always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
And what is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government, get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
What would happen if I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors? What would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist! Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins!
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show. That's at wakeupAmericaShow.com. I do want to say apologize for the music being a little bit too loud during my last commercial break there where I was talking about my friends over at fieldofgreens.com. Whenever we've got a new commercial or something like that, there's always a few tweaks that have to go into the audio on that one. And honestly, I'm not a great audio engineer, so I do the best I can. But I hope you're doing well on a Monday. I'll get it better next time. Thanks so much for joining us over on YouTube today. I see 34 people watching us live over there. If you wouldn't mind, click like under the video to help us to get out in more people's feed. That way we can continue to spread the message of economic freedom and personal liberty. I also appreciate, just FYI, whenever there is some kind of a technical issue on the show, if you text me, right, versus like, the commenting on the live stream, because I can't always follow the live stream chats. It's a lot easier for me to see comments that come in on the text channel. So if you text me, if there's an issue like that where the music is too loud or something like that, or too quiet, or there's a problem with the microphone, FYI, it's just me here in the mornings typically. Sometimes I've got Nathan Clark with me, but that's not every day. So it's just me here alone making this thing happen on my own. So if there's a problem, I can't always tell. If you text me, then I can try and figure it out for you. Anyways, hope you're enjoying the Wake Up America show. So far, so good. Let's continue on with our next topic here. Harry Potter's Luna Lovegood, the actress who played her, that is, Ivana Lynch is her name. She has addressed the ongoing controversy surrounding the author JK Rowling. It's kind of instigated off of comments that Rowling had made initially back in 2020, where she's been criticized for, quote, disparaging the transgender community. And by disparaging the transgender community these days, what they mean is that you don't deny biological sex. If you don't deny biological sex, you're disparaging the transgender community. Anyway, so Lynch has kind of joined, some of the fellow co-stars like Emma Watson and Daniel Radcliffe and others who, have been speaking publicly their opinions about J.K. Rowling. But I mean, Daniel Radcliffe, Emma Watson, Rupert Grint, like Ron, Harry, and Hermione, they've thrown her under the bus, right? They've called out J.K. Rowling for being insensitive, right? But Lynch, Luna Lovegood, who was supposed to be like the crazy one, it's so ironic that she was like the crazy one in books, but she seems to be the only sane one in reality, spoke with the Telegraph about the ongoing backlash that Rowling continues to experience, suggesting that while she has great compassion for transgender people, she's shocked at the level of criticism that's been leveled at the author. She says that people should be taking it easy on Rowling and listen to her. She says, I was very naive when I was dragged into that conversation. I didn't even know there were two sides. I had a view of like good and bad. She says, I do have compassion for both sides of the argument. I know what it was like to be a teenager who hated my body so much I wanted to crawl out of my skin, so I have great compassion for trans people, and I don't want to add to their pain. I understand being too triggered to be able to have a conversation. If you put me in a room with one of my doctors who treated me in the past, I'd kick off. Like, I wouldn't want to scream and yell names. I also think it's important that J.K. Rowling has been amplifying the voices of detransitioners. She says, I had this impulse to go, let's all just stop talking about it. And I think I'm a bit braver now about having uncomfortable conversations. Good for you, Luna Lovegood, or Evelyn Lynch. She says that I just felt that her character has always been to advocate for the most vulnerable members of society. The problem is that there's a disagreement over who's the most vulnerable. I do wish people would just give her more grace and listen to her. Wow. Good stuff. I think, honestly, I think that was a really good response, right? So, but we can't all stop talking about it. Obviously, we're going to continue to talk about it. We need to have these conversations and we need to get it all out in the open. We need to stop trying to silence people and cancel people. As a matter of fact, I got contacted by a newspaper after my debate with that Shekinah Hollingsworth last week in Maryland, because she's come out as, being homophobic and proudly homophobic, proudly anti-Semitic and all these things. They're like, why would you have this? Why would you do this? Have this public debate with this person? Well, I think because the reason why it's a good idea to do this is because you want to let bad opinions and ideas out into the light of day. I'm not saying J.K. Rowling's opinion is bad. I probably agree with J.K. Rowling. But you want to have these ideas, even the more disgusting or out of the blue wild opinions. You want to allow people to have those opinions out in the light of day. The response to hate speech, quote unquote, which I'm not sure is even a thing, is more speech. It's free speech, right? We don't have free. This is Ron Paul always said. We don't have free speech so that we can talk about the weather. We have free speech so that we can talk about very controversial things. And in my opinion, you don't want to suppress the speech of people, because I think that makes it more intoxicating and exciting. The same reason why I think legalizing all drugs would make it less exciting for young people, because what we do, you would demystify it, right? You would get rid of, it would be more clinical, right? And if, neo-Nazis or people who are, left-wing communists, national socialists, communist socialists, if they're allowed to have their opinions out in the light of day, I think people will rightly judge their views to be detestable. But they should be allowed to have their views, and they should be allowed to have them in public. And we should debate these ideas in public, because I think, it's not about necessarily giving them a platform. It's about ensuring that better ideas win the day. If you're confident in your ideas and your ideas are better, then they should be able to win in a public debate, which, of course, I completely and totally destroyed last week. I'm going to go get my buddy Will Scharf. Will Scharf is going to join me on the program, and I'm going to talk to him about this Kim Gardner controversy in St. Louis. He just texted me. He said, ready when you are. We're going to talk to him about this St. Louis prosecuting attorney, corrupt as hell, corrupt as the day is long. And we're going to have him come on the show. He's an attorney general candidate here in the state of Missouri to talk about what's going on, whether or not she's going to be fired for dereliction of duty on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Step right up, ladies and gents, to learn about the coolest president yet. He's not just any old prez, he's Calvin Coolidge, and boy oh boy is he different from the rest. He was quiet as a mouse, but don't you underestimate his power. He knew how to handle money, and he didn't waste an hour. He cut taxes, lowered debt, and balanced the budget with ease. No wonder the Roaring Twenties brought such prosperity and peace. But don't take my word for it. Grab a copy of Calvin the Coolest President and see for yourself. It's a children's book that'll make you smile and help your little ones learn about wealth. You can find it on Amazon Kindle or get your hands on a paperback at apforlibertyshop.com. So come on down and get yourself a copy of the book that's making waves all around town. You won't regret it, so get ready to be floored because Calvin Coolidge, well, folks, he really scored.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
any real-world experience.
It's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Make no mistake, reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Well, Kim Gardner, she's a corrupt St. Louis prosecutor who's being accused of dereliction of duty. The governor and the current attorney general of Missouri have come out and said it's time for Kim Gardner to step down. She's that corrupt St. Louis prosecutor who was involved in all the Greitens scandals and things, taking down the former governor of the state of Missouri. If you're not in tune with Missouri politics, that's okay. We're going to get you up to speed. Joining us now is the next attorney general of the state of Missouri. Well, he's a candidate anyway. His name is Will Scharf, and he's joining us right now. Good morning, Will. Thanks so much for joining us on the program live today.
Good morning, Austin. Really great to be with you as always. Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, would you give our readers our listeners a sort of Reader's Digest version of who this Kim Gardner character is and why she's embroiled in such controversy at this moment?
Sure. So Kim Gardner was elected in 2016. She was part of the first wave of George Soros-funded prosecutors. And we saw that wave really sweep across the country in a lot of urban areas from California to Virginia to right here in Missouri. Soros basically funded her entire campaign. Vast majority of the money that she raised was from a Soros-funded group. And what she's done since taking office in 2017 is systematically dismantle prosecution in the city of St. Louis. Her office is about a third of the size of her predecessor's office. Felony prosecutions are down. Murder prosecutions are down. If you commit a murder in the city of St. Louis today, your chances of serving prison time for that are about 1 in 4, which is really just unacceptable. So this is a situation that's been going on for a while. As you mentioned, she was involved in basically a political prosecution against the former governor, my former boss, Eric Greitens. Her lead investigator on that case ended up pleading guilty to a number of charges. She was disciplined by the Missouri Supreme Court for her role in that scandal. So this is a person whose comeuppance is long overdue, and who's really been a malign influence on politics in our city and in our region and state for a very long time.
Now, Will, the question of the current controversy that she's embroiled in right now is the governor is asking her to step down. The attorney general is saying that she's, accusing her of dereliction of duty. So, to supplement what you said here, essentially they want her to step down because she's not doing her job. She's not actually prosecuting actual crimes that are being committed against the people of St. Louis. I mean, is there any precedent for a prosecutor being removed for something like this? Or is this, are we treading new waters here?
So it's a mixture of the two. The attorney general has filed a lawsuit called a quo warranto action, which basically means that he's accusing Kim of having essentially forfeited her office as a result of her numerous inadequacies in that role. I wouldn't say it's unprecedented. It's something of a novel legal theory. To me, though, the question is, why has this situation been allowed to simmer for so many years? The problem with Kim is not a new one. The lack of prosecutions and the rising crime in St. Louis is not a new problem. This isn't something that just popped up over the last couple months. And Jefferson City, to my way of thinking, our state capital, our state political establishment, has really been derelict in its duties in terms of demanding accountability from Kim and demanding accountability from her office.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson. We'd love it if you would give us a like if you're watching us over on YouTube. Help us to spread this show and then the message of economic freedom and personal liberty. I'm joined now by Missouri Attorney General candidate Will Scharf. Will and I are discussing the controversy where an embattled St. Louis prosecutor is being asked by the governor of Missouri and by the attorney general to step down. I say ask, but really they're demanding it. I mean, does she have to step down? I mean, what kind of political pressure would she actually be susceptible to? I mean, it looks like she's lost the chief of police, the mayor, and possibly Representative Cori Bush, ? Says Chris Morrill over on the live stream here. I mean, she could just stay in office, though. I mean, is there really any way to remove her? I mean, why would someone in her position actually step down? She could just fold her arms and just sit it out, right?
So I think you raised a really important point, which is that it's not just the governor and the attorney general, both of whom are Republicans, demanding that she resign, but even the far left progressive mayor of St. Louis, Tashara Jones, has had enough with her. And it's that lack of political support among Democrats in the city that I think is ultimately going to be telling. Even assuming that the attorney general's quo warranto action succeeds in removing her from office, there's nothing preventing Kim from just running again. And her progressive base is still there. The people who have put her into office in the first place, these far left progressive activists, they're still there. So it's the fact that her support is crumbling even among the progressive left because of how bad a job she's done. I think that's ultimately going to be what either gets her out of office or keeps her out of office.
Will, one of our viewers and a good friend of the show, John Turner, has a question. He wrote in and says, this may be an ignorant question. John, there are no ignorant questions. He says, but how does her performance further the agenda of George Soros? What is his agenda that would benefit from being lax on criminal prosecution? How would you answer that, Will?
So I think the Soros people have a number of goals. First of all, they view our current criminal justice system in America as fundamentally unfair. And they think that we over-incarcerate in this country, that there are too many people in prison. And when you look at what they've done in other cities and in St. Louis around issues like bail, letting violent criminals out while they await trial, or what they've done on sentencing, what they've done in declining to prosecute large numbers of cases, it all falls into that general worldview that America's prison system, America's prosecution system is fundamentally unfair and too aggressive. I think if you talk to any normal person on the streets of St. Louis, particularly people who have been victims of crime, they would hold an opposite view. But this Soros movement, it started in 2015 and 2016. It swept across the country. Your viewers may be familiar with the issues they had in San Francisco with Chesa Boudin, who they finally pushed out of office, Gascon in Los Angeles, and really all over the country. This has been a concerted effort to undermine enforcement of our criminal laws all over the country by an ideologically motivated movement.
Will, I have to say that, the first half of what you said actually kind of perks my ears up, right? And I'll be curious to see how you respond to this. Being a libertarian Republican myself, I too think that the more corrupt the state, the more it legislates, and that this country is planted thick with laws like, fining people for collecting rainwater, on their own property and collecting it in rain barrels. I mean, there's no doubt that people are being prosecuted for ridiculous laws. I mean, parents are being prosecuted because they let their kids, walk around the neighborhood and go and play because they're not, adequately parenting and things like that. But I guess the difference between the libertarian Republican and the left-wing Marxist is that the left seems to not want laws against actual crimes to be enforced. But things like murder, rape, theft, right? You can steal like $900 worth of goods in some cities in California and get away with it. So, would you recognize the distinction between some laws that are on the books that absolutely should be overturned? Or perhaps if there isn't time, do you really need to enforce a law against a parent allowing their kid to walk down the street without holding their parent's hand?
Yeah, Austin, I was talking to a friend of mine, a grassroots activist down in Southwest Missouri, just a couple days ago, and he has a problem with predatory black vultures, which are this vicious species of predatory birds that are killing his cattle, literally swooping down and killing his cattle. And the Department of Agriculture, because of some century-old law, is saying that he's not allowed to protect his property against this particular species of bird. I'd be the first to say that there are laws on the books that should be off the books, but I think you and I would agree that shooting somebody, committing murder, committing armed robbery, committing carjackings, these are all very serious crimes that under any theory of the case need to be prosecuted. And unfortunately, here in St. Louis and in a lot of other cities around the country, these progressive prosecutors just don't see tackling violent crime as their first or as a primary objective. And that's tragic. Behind each one of these cases, there's a victim. Behind each one of these cases, there's a tragedy. And if you don't prosecute violent crime, you just get more violent crime. So that's a situation that, as a former prosecutor, I feel very strongly about, and it's something that we need to fix if this city, this region, this state is going to have a future.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show, I'm Austin Peterson, and you're listening to Will Scharf. Will is a former prosecutor, like he just said, and he is a candidate for the Attorney General of the state of Missouri. Will, a couple of things real quick before I let you go. One, you're running for AG here in the state of Missouri. We have a current AG. As somebody who's run for office a couple of times before, I can tell you it's not easy to run for office when it's unopposed. But now you're opposing someone in a primary, in a Republican primary, which some people think is taboo. Why have you chosen to take on this Herculean task to go up against our current Attorney General? Admittedly, he was appointed appointed by the governor, right? He wasn't elected by the people of Missouri. But why would you choose to take on this challenge?
Well, you of all people, Austin, know how difficult it is to take on the political establishment in this state. I think you made a very good point there. The governor has made his pick, but the people of Missouri are going to have their say in 2024. And when we get out around the state, what we hear from just about everybody is that they're dissatisfied with the way Jefferson City has been running the state for a very long time. And the political establishment in this state, they've had their turn. They've done a bad job. We've been a red state for 2 decades, but we don't look like Florida. We don't look like Texas. We haven't seen those sorts of good conservative policies implemented here. And I think there's a real desire on the part of our grassroots activists, good conservatives all over the state for a change. And that's the message that we're driving. That's why we're in this race. And so far, we've been enthused and gratified by the response that we've gotten. I think we're in a great position here.
If you become the Attorney General, Chris Morrill asked this question. If you become the Attorney General, how long do you intend to wait before running for the U.S. Senate?
I'm not leaving Missouri anytime soon. I don't intend to leave Missouri anytime soon. I was in Washington, D.C. working on judicial confirmations during the Trump administration, moved back here during the pandemic in 2020. And I'm pretty set on staying in Missouri and never leaving again. So I don't see that on the horizon.
That's good. There is a ladder here that has been heavily used here, waiting for you in Jefferson City. If you need it, we'll let you borrow it. Will, is there anything else that you think people should know before we let you go?
You can follow us on Twitter at Will Scharf, Facebook Will Scharf, or check out our website, www.votescharf.com, SCHARF. Thanks a lot, Austin.
Thanks a lot, Will. And just disclosure, I am a donor to the Will Scharf campaign. Will, wish you best of luck in the campaign. Thank you very much for your time today.
Appreciate it, Austin.
Appreciate that very much. Will Scharf, ladies and gents, make sure you check him out. He's a good follow over there on Twitter as well. He's done some really good history tweets, some threads that you might want to follow. And yeah, Will and I see a lot of things eye to eye. So check him out over at his website and, follow him on Twitter. Great place to do it. I will definitely have him back on the show. All right, coming up next, she's a descendant of the Mayflower, or one of the people who came over on the Mayflower, but she's black. She found that out when she was on television. Her response to finding out that she was a descendant of the Mayflower as a former Black Panther member was, well, you'll have to see it to believe it. We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
American conservatism is distinct, like America is distinct from the United Kingdom. American conservatism's roots comes out of the Wild West, out of pioneerism. The difference between American conservatives and European conservatives is that Americans are cowboys. We are that God, guns, gold, and girls. It's wild here, and we should stay that way. We shouldn't allow a European version of conservatism to come and infect us here. We like it wide open spaces here, deep in the heart of Texas and all that.
Hey there, it's your favorite Vice President Joe Biden. I wanted to talk to you today about the Wake Up America show, the best source for all your political news and commentary. But before I get started, let me just make sure I have all my notes in order. Okay, where was I? All right, the Wake Up America show. It's a great way to stay informed and make your voice heard. Boy, what was I saying again? Oh, right. The Wake Up America show. It's important that we all stay engaged and knowledgeable about what's going on in our country and, the thing. But hold on, where was I going with all this? Oh, yeah. The Wake Up America show. It's a fantastic resource. And if you really want to make a difference, man, you can sign up to be a monthly donor at wakeupAmericaShow.com/support. Now, where was I? Oh, that's right, the Wake Up America show. So if you want to stay woke and support a great cause, head on over to wakeupAmericaShow.com/support and sign up to be a monthly donor today. And if you're feeling generous, you can even give a donation in my name. Thanks for listening, and keep on keeping on, America. Come on, man.
George. Thank you for watching the Wake Up America show with my dad. Today, I'd like to share with you 3 reasons why you should visit Dad's online store at apforlibertyshop.com. Number 1. You can get exclusive freedom-loving merch designed by AP himself, or me mum, Steffi. Liberty Laura has made some designs as well, and blimey, they are great! Number 2. Most of these products are so wicked that they aren't even allowed to be advertised on Facebook or Instagram. Modern machine guns and a proper keychain. Plus, our Grover Cleveland t-shirt is so spicy apparently that leftists on Facebook specifically banned it from appearing on the website. Number 3. You're supporting liberty lovers just like you. Spend your money where you earn it, and you help me Pops build a community that supports what you believe. Bloody hell! This commercial is running too long. Gotta run. Bye now. Don't forget to visit apforlibertyshop.com. That's apforlibertyshop.com.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. How are you feeling today? On a Monday? You're that excited? Well, good. Well, I'm glad to see you here today. You can text the Wake Up America show today at 573-319-1586. That's 573-319-1586. That's just what Kim did this morning. Nice to see you, Kim. Thanks for texting into the show. If you'd like, you can also send us some support through a super chat, and I'll read your super chat live on air if you're over on YouTube, all 36 of you, 38. Nice to see you today. Thank you very much for joining us. Real briefly, before I talk about this story of a former Black Panther shocked to learn she's a descendant of the Mayflower, our friend Brian was asking for an update on our puppy dog. Well, Calvin is doing a little bit better. We're excited to see and to report to you. He has regained, I would say, most of the function of his back legs, although sometimes he is a little bit floppy. It's been a bit of a painful transition period because the veterinarian has recommended strict crate rest, which means that he's basically only been able to kind of stretch his legs a little bit when he goes to the bathroom. And then late at night, when he's very calm, we let him out to sit on the couch. Otherwise, all day long, he is in that crate and he is not happy about it. But we want to obey the veterinarian's demands and make sure that he heals. He's got to build up a little bit of scar tissue, she says. So he stays in the crate. He doesn't move. But we do think that he will be able to make a recovery. It's just in the future, he won't be able to go upstairs or downstairs or anything like that. He wants to play with his brother so bad. It's just unfortunate. He's got about another week, I think, of staying in the crate. And then after that, he'll be free. So thankfully he can walk and things are actually getting a little bit better. Thanks so much for tuning in today to Dustin, Rare Camellia, John Turner, Tolly Owens. Glad to have you here. We appreciate you all very much for joining us this morning on the live stream. All right. Well, racial activist and former fugitive Angela Davis was shocked to learn she is a descendant of someone who sailed on the Mayflower in last Tuesday's episode of Finding Your Roots on PBS. Let's take a listen.
Any idea what you're looking at? That is a list of the passengers on the Mayflower.
No, I can't believe this. No, my ancestors did not come here on the Mayflower.
Your ancestors came on the Mayflower.
No.
You are descended
No.
from one of the 101 people who sailed on the Mayflower.
Oof. That's a little bit too much to deal with right now.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you may have descended from people who laid
Never.
the foundation
Never.
for this country?
Never.
Now, this lady, Angela Davis, she's notorious for working with the Communist Party of the United States, as well as the Black Panther Party. Sorry, I ruined your Black Panther Party. From the 60s and 70s, her involvement in the armed takeover of a California courtroom resulted in 4 deaths and her placement on the FBI's most wanted list. Now 79 years old, she was the latest to appear on the PBS show where celebrities and public figures learn about their history of oppression. You know she hated that, Justin. Yes, she did. She hated that, and it was so delicious, man. Oh, so good. You know, you are a descendant. You are the father of this country. And they're like, oh no. Oh no. Chris Morrill says maybe this gal could take reparations out of her left pocket and put it in her right. So good. So good. Ma'am, you are a descendant of one of the people who founded this country. Near the end of the episode, after discussing multiple members of her family, the former Black Panther learned that she descended from William Brewster, one of the 101. I mean, think about it. Only 101 people that came over on that one, who came to the colonies in 1620 aboard the Mayflower. Well, what's that 1619 project about? 1620. Henry Louis Gates Jr., he's the show's host and the director of the Hutchins Center for African and African American Research at Harvard. He shared the clip from the episode on Twitter and says, our researchers discovered. He's loving this, by the way, because he knows that this is going to get a lot of people stirred up. Discovered Angela Davis's ancestors traveled to the U.S. on the Mayflower. And here is your reaction. Hashtag finding your roots. He tweeted, do you know what you're looking? Can we just watch this one more time? It's just so delicious. Let's do this one more time. Yes.
Any idea what you're looking at? That is a list of the passengers on the Mayflower.
No, I can't believe this. No, my ancestors did not come here on the Mayflower.
Your ancestors came on the Mayflower.
No.
You are descended
No.
from one of the 101 people who sailed on the Mayflower.
Oof. That's a little bit too much to deal with right now.
Did you ever, in your wildest dreams, think that you may have descended from people who laid
Never.
the foundation
Never.
for this country?
Never.
Why are you acting like it's a bad thing? I mean, when we were raised as kids and went to Raymore Elementary, that was a good thing. Coming over as a pilgrim on the Mayflower, I would think that you would be honored to be one of the foundational, the what do you call, what's the opposite of an ancestor? A post-cestor? I don't know. Somebody give me fill me in on this one, but oh my God, I love this so much. Melanin compromised. Very funny, Joni Rankin. Very funny. Melanin compromised. Anyway, so she says she can't believe it, right? She's protesting. Oof, that's a little too much to deal with right now. Oy vey. She says, never would I have thought this in my wildest dreams. God, you just got to love this just absolutely juicy story. Don't I bring you the best? Do I not bring you the best stories? How would you like another awesome story? Reading Lord of the Rings or 1984 could be a sign of right-wing extremism. I poop you not, descendant. Thank you, Nomad John. I feel like an idiot this morning. Idiot. Descendant. Ancestor, descendant. So I need to finish my coffee here. I'm going to put a little bit of my delicious Field of Greens in there. What do you think? Try a little of that Field of Greens this morning? Yeah. We'll be back with more on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupamericashow.com.
Good morning to the Cantina crew. This is Elon Musk, the CEO of Twitter. And I just want to say thank you for watching the Wake Up America Show. I've decided that Austin Peterson will be the new CEO of Twitter.com, effective immediately. First thing to do, though, is I've got to go and blast off into space.
If there wasn't going to be somebody who was a fiery champion of liberty, somebody who would get out there and who would be aggressive, and if they wouldn't do it with more fire or passion than I had, then I would go and I would fight this battle for us. I've fought for the principles that we all share. Parties tend to be secondary to me. We're here because we believe in the principles of liberty. I am not a perfect messenger, but I think I'm a damn good one. This is a replica of our first president's flintlock pistol. You have my full support, my respect, and my gun.
I think that the heart of my philosophy is much more libertarianism than well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian and always has been.
Yet any time you and I question the schemes of the do-gooders, we're denounced as being against their humanitarian goals. They say we're always against things, we're never for anything.
What is fascism? Fascism is private ownership, private enterprise, but total government control and regulation.
Well, the trouble with our liberal friends is not that they're ignorant. It's just that they know so much that isn't so. If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves.
The conservative, so-called, is the one that says less government. Get off my back, get out of my pocket, and let me have more control of my own destiny.
If I had to pick up the phone, call 911 for one of my family members or one of my neighbors, what would I do if no one was on the other end to respond? What if there was no 911? So you can be a part of the solution.
Anybody can be a firefighter. Male, female, younger, older.
We have school teachers. We have leaders in business.
Is me, you, anyone that wants to be. There is no typical firefighter.
Do you hate the deep state? Do you reject the Antichrist in all his ways? Do you believe that aliens controlled LBJ to assassinate John F. Kennedy? Did you know that the shot can put chemicals in you that will make you more sensitive to 5G? Do you love America? Do you want more freedom? Do you like smoking hot red-headed libertarians? Then the AP for Liberty shop is for you! Check out all the awesome new merch and have a happy new year! Fight the deep state, reject the Antichrist. Visit AP for Liberty shop and get your patriotic merchandise now, or the deep state wins.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Feeling good today? Oh, yeah, my coffee is kicking in, baby. I hope you're enjoying the show today. And if you are, make sure that you give us a like over on YouTube if you're watching us over there. It's nice to see so many people joining us today. We like to have about that many viewers. See, our average continues to creep up of average viewers. And it's really exciting to see, especially because the show is just succeeding beyond my wildest dreams. We only started it back in September. We're already getting a great number of views, daily viewers tuning in early in the morning, and there just aren't a lot of libertarian shows in the morning. So I think we've got a nice little niche here. And of course, I think the advertisers like it as well. We've been grateful to all of our friends who have done things like signing up for Lear Capital to get more information about their gold and silver offerings, which I'm going to talk about in a little bit later. And also, I'm looking forward to seeing what you all think of Field of Greens, which is our new sponsor, which is a great little health food way to get your vegetables and your fruits without having to eat 6 cups of fruits and vegetables. Just drink it. 1 glass, it's delicious, and you're done. Okay. I'm going to talk about this story. Yes, I am. Oh, yeah, this one really made me laugh. Hilarious. Author Douglas Murray published a scathing review of the British government's counterterrorism prevent program, which is apparently reported that authors like George Orwell, J.R.R. Tolkien, and C.S. Lewis can radicalize readers. Yeah. In his column, Murray described how Britain's Prevent program, this counterterrorism program, was founded to support like these efforts to try and take down radicals like Ayman al-Zawahiri, right? Right, but now it's swayed into a focus, which these programs always do. And I tried to tell my Republican friends about this in the United States. Eventually, the Patriot Act was going to be turned against us, right? It quickly shifted from Islamic ideologies to what the government calls far right ideologies. Yeah. Right. So prevents, and that's capital P prevents, that's the name of the program. Research Information and Communications Unit, RRICU, has previously listed historical texts as red flags. Essentially, if somebody is reading 1984 or works by C.S. Lewis, J.R.R. Tolkien, Aldous Huxley, or Joseph Conrad, they should be suspected of being a far-right extremist. That extremist was there for Liz Fanning Press. Extremist. Oh, extremist. It's an extremist. That may be the right way to pronounce it, but you know what? Judge Napolitano calls her Ayn Rand, calls her Anne Rand when her name is really Ayn Rand. And so he's got his Ayn Rand, and I've got my extremist. There you go. Murray's own book, Douglas Murray, who's a great follow on Twitter. If you don't follow him, check him out. Douglas Murray's own book was also on the list, and that's how it came to his attention. Now, Prevent, capital P Prevent, this anti-terrorism unit in the UK, was started in 2019. And every year they do a review. Well, the purpose of the review is to consider Britain's strategy for protecting people vulnerable for being drawn into terrorism and to make recommendations that are based on the findings of this group. So in the review, there was a note that said, while the boundaries for extremist, Islamist ideology are too narrow, boundaries around the idea of extreme right-wing ideology are too broad. So that apparently hinders Prevent from effectively dealing with the risk that's posed by this mindset. But doesn't it also ignore a whole bunch of other ideological spectrums of far-left ideologies as well, right? So they actually, in that report, they barely made any mention at all of any far-left ideologies in the entire report. They don't mention communism, China, Russia, Antifa, socialism, none of that, right? Islamism, far-right ideologies. Those are the greatest threat to the British way of life in terms of fear of terrorism. And if you're seen on the street reading J.R.R. Tolkien or Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe, C.S. Lewis, right, or Aldous Huxley, Brave New World, you might be suspected of potentially being someone who could get dragged into terrorism, right? So, yeah, but the government has chosen
good guys and bad guys, right? And here's the thing, and the Patriot Act is a perfect example of something that initially conservative Republicans and right wingers supported, right? But that libertarians were always warning, and a lot of conservatives have even acknowledged this, that the libertarians were right about this. We were warning that it was going to be turned against us. This is why the Groypers and the national conservatives and the NatCons and the National Socialists and others, right-wing populists and others, I'm grouping them all in together, right? They have, many of them have distinct ideologies. They're not all Nazis, right? But there are a few. But the point is this, is that they think that they're going to be able to take over government. A lot of right-wingers, Republicans, they're going to be able to take over government and they're going to be able to use it for good, right? That their version of big government will never be used against us, right? But they create these institutions. It was Republicans that created the Department of Homeland Security and put all of these massive institutions, bureaucracy, lump them all together into one massive bureaucracy. But as long as the Republicans are in charge, then it won't be turned against us. Well, of course it's going to get turned against us, just like the FBI has been turned against us, right? These institutions of the state, you have to understand that the government is never going to support conservative views. The government is never going to reflect conservative values. And this is what I was trying to explain to this woman in this debate I had last week. Any institution that Republicans create will eventually be taken over, go woke, and be used against them. You have to destroy the institutions. You have to reduce them to rubble. You have to remove the bureaucracies. You have to deny them aid, and you have to deny them succor. Not SUCKER, SUCCOR. There's my narcissist for you. Where's my $5, Camellia Peterson? I want my $5. Give me my $5. Yes, you have to understand that you have got to remove these agencies of the state. You cannot control them. The conservatives are not even a majority within the Republican Party. The Republican Party is not a conservative party anymore. Are there conservatives in the Republican Party? Yes. Does everybody who's in the Republican Party call themselves a conservative? Yes. Does that make it so? No. If I call myself a woman, does that make me a woman? No. If I'm a Republican, does that make me a conservative? No. If you're a conservative, does that make you a Republican? No. Frequently, these concepts are mutually exclusive. You are never going to have a government that reflects conservative values in this country. It's not going to happen again, right? Donald Trump's government was not a conservative government. Donald Trump is not a conservative. The last conservative, you could argue, that we had in office was Ronald Reagan, who was someone who was actually conservative in demeanor, conservative in governance, right? And I don't say libertarian in governance for a reason, obviously, right? But I mean, conservatives tend to be more big government when it comes to military, right? A little bit distinct there. But here's my point. The point here is that if you have a government institution, it will eventually be taken over by the left, because the left is the party, or the Democrats. They are the party of government, and the government is only going to want to preserve itself. Any institution of the government is only going to do what it takes to ensure that it survives, that its bureaucrats continue to maintain their paychecks and their pensions, that they can continue to have a guaranteed job. And so they know for a fact that Republicans, maybe not to a large extent, but to a larger extent than Democrats, are the ones who are coming for their paychecks, who are coming for their pensions, who are coming for their jobs. Again, not to a large extent, but to a larger extent than the Democrats, because as we all saw during the sorry State of the Union a couple of weeks ago, Republicans are more than happy to scream and shout at the president, at the Democratic president, about how much they agree with him, about how much more we need bureaucracy and big government and redistribution of wealth. And I know this is a sticking point for Elizabeth Fanning Price, about how we need to continue to pour more money into Medicare and Medicaid, about how we need to take money from the unproductive sector of society, we need to money from the productive sector, and we need to transfer it to the unproductive sector, of course, with a nice big skim off the top for the government for the bureaucracy and for the officials, so that by the time that the money gets to the people that it's supposed to go for, of course, all of the people and all the in-between and all the corporations and all the cronies have taken all of the cream off of the top, and they've left the rest of us with the crap. But hey, it's not welfare if you paid for it by your taxes, right? Except if you collect more than you paid in which case it was, well, I guess it's a form of welfare, isn't it? All right. Well, it's time for us to talk turkey. Actually, it's time for us to talk Gold. How lovely. Gold and silver. Silver and gold. You see, my friends at Lear Capital know that no matter what happens, they're safe and secure. And people who have bought gold and silver have been making out like bandits. If you bought gold and silver 10 years ago, you're sitting pretty. You're glad you did it. I was talking to my friend about investment strategies this weekend, and my friend Heather, and we were discussing this whole concept of, when is the time to like start prepping, right? If you want to be a prepper, you should have started 10 years ago, she says. Okay, true. Well, in terms of prepping, right, buying gold and silver, that's definitely a good cornerstone for your strategy if you're a prepper. When's the best time to start prepping? The best time to start buying gold and silver? Well, it was 10 years ago, right? That's the first best time to buy gold and silver was 10 years ago. The second best time to buy gold and silver, right now. And if you're just interested in the concept, right, and you don't know a whole lot about investing in gold and silver, because it's not just buying gold and silver coins, which you could do. You can buy gold bars if you want, and they'll ship them straight to your house. But let's say you just want to maybe take a portion of your retirement, move that into precious metals. You can do that without any kind of a tax obligation whatsoever. You could take a portion of your retirement, put it in gold and silver, learn more about that today. Here's how you do it. Give them a call. I'm really trying to push that phone number these days. Inbound calls themselves are gold. 1-800-885-2175. Maybe you're looking for a new gold dealer. Check them out. 1-800-885-2175. That's 1-800-885-2175. Check it out over at learaustin.com. If you're worried about being on the phone with people, I totally get it. You can also visit their website at learaustin.com. That's learaustin.com. Call them today. Lear Capital, highly endorse and recommend. Just get more information. They'll send you a free gold and silver packet. If you do that, it helps to grow the show, to keep up the support so that we can continue, because we got a lot of awesome content every single day. And you sure wouldn't want to see the show get canceled just for the fact that you didn't go get a gold and silver packet for free, right? But I would say it's a good idea to buy gold and silver. Buy it 10 years ago. But if you can't buy it 10 years ago, buy it today. All right. When we get back, 5 fruits that caused a huge uproar. Yes. Which fruit are you thinking of? Which fruit do you think is the most suggestive fruit? We'll talk about that when we get back on the Wake Up America Show at wakeupAmericaShow.com.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message. Believe me, Austin Peterson is the best. He's got the greatest Wake Up America show I've ever seen. Whenever I tune in the mornings and watch the live stream, let me tell you, he has got the absolute best content. I love his guests. It's just a total blast to watch, and I highly endorse and recommend the Wake Up America show. It's terrific, believe me.
Step right up, ladies and gents, to learn about the coolest president yet. He's not just any old prez, he's Calvin Coolidge, and boy oh boy is he different from the rest. He was quiet as a mouse, but don't you underestimate his power. He knew how to handle money, and he didn't waste an hour. He cut taxes, lowered debt, and balanced the budget with ease. No wonder the roaring 20s brought such prosperity and peace. But don't take my word for it. Grab a copy of Calvin the Coolest President and see for yourself. It's a children's book that'll make you smile and help your little ones learn about wealth. You can find it on Amazon Kindle or get your hands on a paperback at apforlibertyshop.com. So come on down and get yourself a copy of the book that's making waves all around town. You won't regret it, so get ready to be floored, because Calvin Coolidge, well, folks, he really scored.
I'm a public defender.
I am a public defender.
I'm proud to be a public defender.
80% of Americans accused of a crime will get appointed a public defender.
Everybody from a speeding ticket to capital murder.
For every dollar we spend on public defenders, we spend $3 on prosecutors.
Public defenders have to do pretty much everything on their own.
Social workers, counselors.
Investigating is another piece of it.
The average public defender holds 300 cases annually.
You never feel like there's enough time.
Public defenders have health issues all the time.
A lot of people give up and say, I can't do this work anymore.
Gideon's Promise trains, mentors, and supports public defenders.
There are a lot of people who say that they would not still be public defenders, but for Gideon's Promise.
It's fueled me to continue on in this fight.
Gideon's Promise has changed the face of public defense.
People see us as troublemakers.
Good trouble only.
We don't make it easy. It should not be easy to take away someone's liberty.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume again.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil. It's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
Do you have any real-world experience?
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Make no mistake, reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Peterson. You're watching and listening to the Wake Up America show at wakeupAmericaShow.com. Happy Monday. Glad to have you here today. Nice to see all of our friends over in the live stream like Tolly Owens, Doug H., Buddy Mansur, Elizabeth Press, Chris Morrill, John Turner, Robbie Thurman, and Elizabeth Fanning Press. You are my favorites. Love this seeing you guys all over there today. Make sure that you click like on the YouTube video so that we can get out in more people's feeds. We'd love to grow the show so more people can enjoy the views of economic freedom and personal liberty. Yes, we've got one more segment to go here. Fruits that caused a mass panic. This one makes me laugh, and I always kind of like to go out on a high note. I read this on Cracked Magazine yesterday. Suggestive fruit. Yes, you've heard the jokes. Bananas look like penises. The jokes are unfair because a lot of objects are phallic, right? Or better put, maybe a lot of objects are oblong, right? And bananas are less so than a lot of stuff, but, thanks to a pronounced curve, right? But we can name several other items of produce that are more phallic than bananas, for example. Can you name one, right? Plus, bananas come in bunches. And while you could totally make an orgasm joke out of the first part of this sentence, that bunched up arrangement should make each fruit feel a little less penisy. But people thought that bananas looked phallic even back in the 1800s, although in fairness, they had more cause to think that back then. Yes, this is getting a little bit spicy, just FYI. -1 Christmas present, says my brother, Justin. Good morning, Justin. I didn't know you were there. You weren't making yourself known. But apparently people thought that bananas looked phallic even back in the 1800s, but they had more cause to think that because the variety of banana that we eat today, which is known as the Cavendish banana, did not yet exist. And people were actually eating a more straight type of a banana back then, which we would call a plantain. But people back then considered the shape of the banana to be obscene. They would slice it rather than eat it whole, when displaying it, they'd use foil to disguise the shape for fear of looking like they were enshrining a phallus in the center of the dining table. Women in particular felt it taboo to handle this immoral fruit. And we imagine this wasn't so much a matter of men being comfortable with performing fellatio while women were not, but rather that everyone was more prone to sexualize an object when a woman holds it, right? Now, to combat this taboo, Andrew Preston of the Boston Fruit Company launched a campaign distributing postcards showing women posing with bananas. They didn't pose provocatively. Now, there was a French banana postcard where they did pose provocatively. Let me see if I can pull this up for you so you can see what I'm talking about here. FYI, this is getting a little bit spicy, so if you got kids watching, there we are. Now, this is, I think, from the early 1900s. You can see. Oh, come on. Why you got to show me that stupid AirPods Max? Okay. Comment se saveur la banane? La banane. How do we say this, Justin? I'm forgetting my French here. Est-elle procurera ainsi de sur et consolation exquisite? I have no idea. Savor the banana. Look at this. So yeah, the fruit causing a mass panic. The banana caused a panic, even back in the 1800s. But of course, the French being the French, yeah, they did. So Preston's postcards merely showed women holding bananas to prove that it's a normal thing to do. And this was a way to shake the banana stigma. All right, let's show you the ladies from the 1800s holding bananas, but not provocatively. As you can see here, the ladies' lips that touch bananas straight shall not touch mine. Yes. How to enjoy the banana. Don't look like you're enjoying the banana. Just hold the banana. Do not enjoy the banana. Apparently, avocados were considered dangerously sexual. Bananas weren't the only fruit filled with hormones designed to get your juices pumping. At the start of the 20th century, rumors circulated that the avocado oozed sexuality. Now, the avocado is decidedly not a phallic fruit, but it does look a bit, if you hold two of them together, drape them together, maybe hold them between your legs, right? What does it look like, right? Oh, yes, it's not a phallic fruit, but it does look a bit like a testicle, right? So, in fact, before American farmers chose the name avocado, it was actually called the aguacate, which was the Aztec word for testicle. Whether the fruit was named after the organ or the slang term was named after the fruit is a matter of dispute among testicle historians. But the specific rumor about the avocado was that its flesh had aphrodisiac properties. And with many fruits being an aphrodisiac, of course, is a selling point, but that somehow didn't translate into popularity when it came to the avocado. Maybe it was because it was already seen as kind of the bad kind of exotic, or maybe it was just that testicle resemblance, which kind of felt repulsive rather than exciting. I mean, who wants to eat balls? Wait a minute. Actually, I think I do know some people who like to eat balls. The Avocado Raisers Association dispatched a representative to publicly deny that avocados were aphrodisiacs. They were not aphrodisiacs. Sales rose, but we don't know for sure if the sales rose because people were like, "Okay, we're not gonna get horny from eating this." That's the last thing that you want to have happen when you're trying to enjoy some delicious guacamole. Number 3, fruit that caused a panic: the kiwi. Apparently got renamed after the Cold War. The kiwi is a fruit. It's also a bird. It's also a name for someone from New Zealand. For all of you curious about which name came first, the answer is it was the bird, as that's the Maori name for the bird going back centuries. People in New Zealand today are named after the bird. The fruit is named after the country, though it does also look like a bit like the bird from certain angles. The fruit was also not always known as the kiwi. It used to be called the Chinese gooseberry, and some people still call it that now. That name came about because the fruit was originally from China. Even today, China exports the kiwis, the most kiwis, followed by Italy, with New Zealand only ranking third. New Zealand got the fruit at the start of the 20th century, that's the 1900s, and they successfully cultivated it and started exporting it to America in 1950s. Cold War was a bad time for marketing a fruit named after China. The exporters therefore came up with a new name, melanettes. Nobody liked that either because melons are pure garbage, but consumers did dig the next name, kiwi fruit, named after a country that was definitely not China. It's kind of like renaming French fries, freedom fries ahead of the Iraq war, or renaming sauerkraut Liberty cabbage during World War I. But the name stuck. It's all worth it if that's what it took to get the delicious kiwi to the United States. Of course, because kiwi does taste great. Tastes better than the kiwi bird anyway, which one explorer said tastes like a piece of pork boiled in an old coffin. Very funny. We'll go a little bit long on the show today, if you don't mind, just because why not? We're having fun. You guys want to stick around for a little bit longer, a few more minutes? Why not? We got a good audience, might as well. Now do snozberries, says Chris Morrill. Absolutely. The government stole raisins for a national reserve. Get this. So prices are high for everything right now. People are angry, figuring somebody should do something about it, right? But at other times, when prices get low and this happens, the government will step in to act to stop low prices. High prices, stop that. Low prices, stop that. It's not actually too easy for the government to respond when the prices are too low and push the prices up. But when the supply is too high and it pushes prices low, they can't actually fix that, but they just need to grab huge quantities of the stuff before it can reach the market. The idea here is that consumers may want prices low, but if prices drop too low, the producers might go broke. And while you might say, hey, that's how business works, because we are libertarians, of course, and we agree with that, that risks crippling industries, say the socialists or the NatCons or what have you, depriving us of vital products, they say, like raisins. Yeah. Starting in 1937, the Department of Agriculture began holding back raisins from the market, stocking a national raisin reserve, and keeping prices high. Yeah, you stupid. So it was stupid, right? Because every single one of these government interventions is stupid, but this one was especially stupid. Yes, very stupid. And something that hey, look, somebody's over on AP for Liberty Shop and bought a whole bunch of items this morning. Hey, nice to see that. Hooray, hooray. You know what it was? It was definitely the Chris Morrill ad this morning. Somebody went in and bought a whole bunch of stuff from the AP for Liberty Shop. Yes, I guarantee. Yes, they were buying it because of Chris Morrill. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that advertisement. Thank you. All right, so they bought up a whole bunch of raisins. They were freaking out because the prices were too low. Okay, number one, the youngest person to be executed in America was over a matter of strawberries. Get this. Strawberry isn't a fruit, first of all, not exactly anyway. Those little bumpy things on the strawberry, which you think are seeds, those are the fruits of the strawberry plant. But the thing that you'd call the berry is the receptacle for the fruits. Yes, those little tiny things that you think are seeds are not seeds. They're actually the fruits. But when you eat a strawberry, you're still eating fruits, dozens of fruits. So that's why the crack decided to include strawberries in this one, because even though it's not a fruit, but you're still eating fruits. They're just the little seeds on the outside are not seeds. Those are fruits. But this story is actually not that fun at all. The youngest person ever formally executed in the U.S. was hanged in 1786. Now, America has put some youngsters to death over the years. One 14-year-old who was later ruled innocent was too short for the electric chair, so they boosted him up by making him sit on a Bible. But Hannah Okuish set the record as she was just 12 years old. Yeah, they hanged Hannah for killing a younger girl. Hannah killed that girl while fighting over strawberries. Murder is still punishable by execution in some places, but a few elements of this case suggest that Hannah might not get capital punishment if that had been tried today. For one thing, she was 12 years old. For another, she appeared to lack the mental capacity for being held liable for murder, even, separate from being a child. Hannah was what they called a fierce young savage who lived in the woods after having been abandoned by her mother years before. And the third possible defense for Hannah is it might have been justifiable homicide. She murdered for strawberries, right? Have you ever eaten strawberries? Those things are freaking delicious. So, all right, it's time for us to go. It's been an awesome show, wouldn't you say? Hey, thank you for supporting us, and thank you for supporting our sponsors. I know that the neo-Nazi guy over on Twitch earlier was complaining about all the advertisements, but you got to understand, that is a sign of success. And also, the trolls, that's also a sign of success. Chris Morrill over here becoming a model for the AP for Liberty shop, that's also a sign of success. You know what else has been a huge success for us? Our awesome new neon machine gun collection. Yes, I worked on this specifically so that I could create shirts for Chris Morrill. I'm not kidding. Chris Morrill's a Hawaiian shirt guy, so I made the Cantina Crew for Life shirt that he was modeling over there. And then this was my latest creation, and it triggered the libs so bad. People were so upset. We got DMs. Stephanie got DMs from people because of this neon machine gun shirt. They were like, oh my God, I can't believe you're supporting assault rifles, blah, 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 blah. So I decided to put that on everything. My favorite here is the baseball. This is called the gun run and shortstop. There's a whole theme, and some of them are named similar, but others have different names. Check this out. So this is the baseball one. It is called the gun run and shortstop. And then there's Aloha to Arms, which is a play on Farewell to Arms, which is a very literary reference. You'd only get it if you're a right-wing extremist. Aloha to Arms neon machine gun bikini, and then, of course, a one-piece swimsuit for the ladies who were like, hey, we got mom bods. And then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? If they got mom bods, plus-size leggings, guns and gams, plus-size leggings. There you go. And then, of course, some, like, model dude from New York City was like, do you got pajama pants? And I'm like, no, but I will. So I made some neon machine gun men's pajama pants. Awesome. Stephanie put these on yesterday. Magic Mushrooms t-shirt. I don't know. Neon, I guess. So it's in there. Second Amendment Squad biker shorts. Not for the plus sized, I would guess. But some smaller sized ladies. Glock and Roll. Women's casual leggings. I love that title. Glock and Roll. Liberty, a tea dress, which I think is kind of nice. The Pew Pew Power Hoodie. The hoodie's a little bit expensive, and the reason why is because it's actually like a really high quality hoodie. Like all of the items in our shop are pretty good quality, but this is like super uber awesome hoodie. If you like the shirts, if you like them, make sure, John Turner, don't forget, you get a 20% discount in the shop. 20% is a big discount, and you get that because you're a monthly subscriber. If you don't have your code for the monthly subscribers, hit me up, send me a DM if you want to buy the shirts, and you get 20% off your entire order. So make sure if you're that monthly subscriber to the Wake Up America show that you get that. Also, we're going to give away an item in the shop tomorrow if you're a monthly subscriber, so don't forget that. And check out our new designs, because Stephanie and I are uploading stuff every day. We've got Armed and Comfy car seat covers. You can get crew socks. If you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money, Right to Bare Feet, cushion crew socks. Duvet, the Right to Bare Arms in bed duvet cover, which I actually think is pretty awesome. Concealed Carry All shoulder handbag. You like these titles here? Blastin' Caps, flat bill hat, bussa cap, right? We've got mugs, t-shirts, spiral notebooks, neon cell phone cases, all that awesome stuff at the AP for Liberty shop. You don't want to miss it. Thanks, Chris Morrill, for being a good sport, for being a model today for one of the AP for Liberty shop shirts. Go head over to the shop now. See all the awesome new items over there. And don't forget, again, if you've got that monthly, if you're a monthly subscriber status, then you get that 20% discount on the AP for Liberty shop. You do not want to miss that. That is some awesome savings. Save yourself a lot of money and support the show. We'll be back tomorrow on the Wake Up America show at wakeupamericashow.com. I'll miss you guys. You miss me when I'm gone?
I like shooting things, but whenever I can't shoot something, I like to cut things. My life isn't all about shooting and stabbing and cutting, though. Sometimes I have to do actual work, but when I work, I still like to have fun. And there's nothing less fun than trying to cut with a crappy knife. Thankfully, from the ancient sect of Christian knights, who also loved cutting and stabbing, comes a new implement that has received my personal blessing, the Templar knife. Like the ancient sword of Excalibur, you don't choose a Templar knife, it chooses you. You just decide what kind you want on the website first, however, and then order it online, and then it chooses you. The Templar knife comes in a variety of shapes. As a man of culture and taste, I have decided I will never use a terrible knife again. And thanks to the inspiration provided by this excellent product, I have decided to launch a new crusade against anyone using less than superior knives. Join me, brothers and sisters, by visiting uppercuttactical.com/pages/Templar-knives. That's a lot of slashes. For that, you'll need a Templar knife. For 10% off, use code AP for Liberty and join me in a quest for glory, for liberty, for Christendom, for the Templar knife. Get yours today.
Fire. Hello, this is Barack Obama, and let me tell you why Austin Peterson stinks, and you should never pay attention to anything that he has to say. First of all, he's a libertarian, and we all know libertarians are idiots. They don't realize how important government is to everything that we do. I recently became aware that Austin has opened up a libertarian shop at apeforlibertyshop.com. Now, I'm asking you as a personal favor to me that you never ever visit apeforlibertyshop.com. With all of the great Liberty merchandise there, the last thing that we need to do is to get people spreading this message around the country, because then they might start thinking that they don't need government. And that's the last thing that good Democrats like us want. So if you love democracy, like me, and hate freedom, then don't visit AP for Liberty Shop. Like I said, whatever you do, do not visit aporlibertyshop.com. I'm Barack Obama, and I approve this message.
Want an engaging website to boost your business? You're just a click away from 5-star Fiverr talent. Hundreds of freelancer skills like web design. Head to Fiverr.com today and get something started.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I would remind you that extremism in the defense of liberty is no vice.
It is better to settle these matters in the courts than on the streets, and new laws are needed at every level. But law alone cannot make men see right.